All right, guys, we have an amazing one here today. We have Eric, the Lambo RN. He's probably one of the hardest working nurses out there. He's actually sitting in his Lambo right now doing this interview with us. So, Eric, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into nursing.
Well, been nursing for over probably almost 12 years. Got into it because my fiance at the time, she was a nurse in the ER. So we got in this terrible accident. She passed away. She had an associate's degree in nursing. So basically, I wanted to get her bachelor's. One of the last things I did for her. So I went to school. Actually had a hard time going to school because I had traumatic brain injury from that
Oh,
accident.
shoot.
So I actually had to kind of my brain wasn't connecting with what I was doing. So I had to kind of rewire my reading and writing. So that was one of the hardest things to go through. So I passed. When you get into school, I've always been like, trying to get A's and stuff. But when you get
Mhm.
to a certain spot, you just
You just want to
want to
pass.
pass. So I wasn't the smartest guy, but let alone I did pass, and then started working in the ER and did trauma. So I've done trauma for about almost 8 years at a level 1 trauma facility. Worked at um, many different ERs. So I spent last 10 years at Sutter working in their
Mhm.
ER, and then I spent about 2 years working at a ER down in San Diego, and went through like Tesla, went through Kaiser, different places. So
So,
yeah,
so you're
I've
not
I've been
working
around.
at all those places that you were recently when you were interviewing on the
With
Nurses Riches
Jason?
channel? Yeah.
No, actually, I just quit Sutter.
Oh,
So
dang.
I'm actually gonna do like a video on what it's like to quit after 10 years. The reason being it is because like a lot of people, they stick with one job for a long period of
Mhm.
time. And what happens is they get tunnel vision. And a lot of people stick with it because it's a lot easier to uh, they don't have to go through the whole thing of knowing people and whatnot.
Mhm.
But for me, I always look at work as more business like. So not really there to make all my friends, hang out with a bunch of people and whatnot, just get the job done, leave, and then hang out with my friends that I already have. So that's kind of my philosophy on trying to, not get stuck at one spot. So
No, I really dig that because, well, first I want to say sorry for your loss from the story that I heard, and all the stuff you had to go through with the rehab to learn how to read and write. And again, that's insane
yeah,
that
no.
you had to go through all that. And seeing that how successful you are now, like it just goes to show that you just got to put your mind to it and work really hard.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was keeping yourself from going into depression. Because at the time, like I got into this accident, I couldn't work. Uh, we just bought this house. So when we got the house, I still had to come up with a mortgage, had all our car payments and stuff like that. And when I wasn't working, I couldn't make that up. So
Dang.
I just couldn't pay bills. So I just cars got repoed, house was in foreclosure, and there was you kind of have to, make a decision if you're gonna work hard to get back into it or just give up and then I don't know, go homeless or something like that. So it's easy to, give up. So I decided to work my ass off.
How'd you like pull yourself out of the fire kind of thing to just not go depressed?
Well, I mean, there's no option. You just go into depression, right? And it's how you get out of it. So
Mhm.
I went down to zero. So the hardest thing was that when I actually AMA'd out of ICU. So
Oh, dang.
and it was because they were gonna bury my fiance while I was still in the hospital.
Oh,
So
dang.
one of the biggest things that I left, and her mom and I, we just didn't get along. So she was actually already planning to sue me
Oh,
for like
dang.
the house, $1 million or whatnot. So when you get out of that hole, you get out of the hospital, you just want to go home. It's not like the movies, you just kind of end up, just being sad. This life hits hard. And then when it does, it hits really hard. So you really have to, I mean, there's nothing to prepare, you know, like
Mhm.
you go to school, they teach you how to go to work and stuff, but nobody prepares when you lose somebody. So
Yeah.
you just kind of go through stuff. And I had to, like, man, I tell you, I applied to school, I was drinking. I had to stop so I can, you know, be sober going to school.
Mhm.
And one of the things I had to do is go to court. So I was
While you're in
broke.
school too? Dang.
Yes. So I was broke. Couldn't afford an attorney. So I just pro-purred and represented myself. So I had to do that. And lucky I had a neighbor who they're both attorneys. So they really helped me out,
Dang.
gave me advice, helped me fill out paperwork. And I couldn't pay mortgage. So basically I squatted at my own house for like, I don't
Damn.
know, like 5 years.
5 years. Oh shoot.
Yeah, it was crazy. I didn't pay mortgage for a long time. And while I was in school, I used to tell people, like, you know, I haven't paid mortgage. And if you guys see like a note from the sheriff's department, then that just means I gotta go. So, but it
I
never
gotta go.
happened. It was crazy. It never happened. I just kind of I don't know. I think it was because if you were in a loan modification phase that they couldn't foreclose. But
Uh,
I'm just guessing because I was always in it. Like what happened was I would fax the loan modification. Obviously, I would get denied, and
mhm.
I would just refill out the application, change the dollar amount, and then just fax it. It was just, I think I did that hundreds of times. So I'm not sure if that
You
was
did
the
it enough
reason
to
why.
push it down the road every now and then.
Yeah. Until I got a job, was able to, and a lot of people, when I respond to a lot of people's social media regarding, you know, you get some people that say, hey, you know, I just pulled, you know, 30 days of working every day or whatnot. I mean, I've done 18 months plus, you know, and everybody's like,
What?
you know, how did you do that? And I was just like, well, because I had to save my house. You know, I took care of my mom and dad. So if I went homeless, my parents would be homeless because they didn't have a lot of money,
Oh.
you know. So it's not like I had no choice. I mean, I can easily gave up, but I mean, that's kind of, you know, Jeanette was my fiance. That was her dream house. So I was just like, yo, I'm just gonna do my best. If I have it in me, I'm gonna keep it, you know. And, you know, I believe in God, so God gave me the strength to, you know, survive. So I wasn't gonna waste it, you know. So basically I just
Damn.
worked my ass off. But I'm gonna tell you something. If you work 18 days every 18 months every day, like working anything else is easy. You know what I'm
I
saying?
can only imagine, dude. Like we see on like on Instagram and stuff, people like, "Oh man, I'm tired after my third day." I'm like, then I saw your mess on your comment on one of my posts. I was like, "That's the Lambo dude. That's a guy that works a million days a year."
Yeah, I mean it's not hard. You know, I tell people that like I never go in tired, I never go in stressed, I never go in, like, I don't have that burnout. You know, a lot of people, it is crazy that there's so many people are like me. It's not like I'm the only one, but
Mhm,
I don't know why there are so many people that put out like nurses are being, you know, get out of bedside burnout. I mean, that's why you go into nursing, you know, because
mhm.
you know you're going to be at bedside. And then there's, you know, I've worked bedside for 3 years. I'm tired of it, whatnot. I mean, you know, I mean, if you're going to be that way, then just don't go into
Go
the
into the field.
career. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. You know, because
You know,
bedside is where it's at.
I think well, that's definitely where the money's at because there's always going to be hours to be given.
Exactly.
Like I feel like there's a. Do you mind me asking how old are you?
I'm 53.
I think like my parents, they're already retired. They were nurses, and then there's like that 50s, the 30s to 50 age where we still kind of have that hardworking mentality. Like,
Yeah,
and then like the people that are a lot younger, they're like, gotta find something else. This isn't really it. I think we still have like that. We can work as much as we want, and we won't feel that because we were like instilled in a different type of like work ethic or
yeah.
principles, something like that.
I think it also depends like who you surround yourself with, right? I mean,
Mhm,
I kind of like when you asked me earlier, like what got you out of where you're at,
Hmm.
listening to a lot of motivational people. Like I listened to, uh, I read like Eric Thomas's book,
Hmm.
like David Goggins and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And it was, their whole, like Eric Thomas was more of like it's never too late. If you're not happy where you're at, it's because you put yourself there. Start
Yep.
making different decisions and stuff like that. And that's how I was. I was always the guy before I became a nurse. I was the guy that, unfortunately, I dated a lot of girls and just that dude that just dated girls, and I didn't treat them all that well or whatnot. So when I got together with Jeanette, I just decided to, when I lost her, I didn't want to be that guy anymore, going out and just know it all, like the average person. You think
Hmm.
you're up here and you're really not. So I changed it up, started making different decisions, stop lying about myself to myself about who I was,
Hmm.
and moved forward, and just
Dang.
keep moving forward. And that was the biggest thing. When you'll find yourself like when you try to uh like get ahead, way ahead in life, there are going to be a lot of people to stop you. They're going to say it's not a
Yeah.
good idea. I think I would do things different. When I told people that, I was going to work a lot, everybody said, "Oh, you're going to kill yourself." Even till now, there's
Yeah.
so many people out there that will discourage you from doing what you're going to do by saying how bad it is. And rather than just encouraging you, a lot of people will just say, the negatives, and then
Of course.
that's kind of what you have to get used to. So when I told people I was going to buy a Lamborghini, like my first Lamborghini, everybody's like, "Oh, you're wasting your time. It's just an asset that depreciates and stuff like that." But I didn't care. Like when you die and you come back, like life is about living, and there's
Mm.
no, right or wrong answer. You know, you might go broke or you might not, but it's all up to you how you take care of yourself. You know, so.
No, I like that. And that's an
And I,
experience that all of us probably don't have other than you and a few select people that understand, like you said, you literally died and came back.
Yeah,
And
and I think that's like I would not wish that upon anybody, right? And
mm,
it's it's hard to, when I was a kid, there's a lot of people that would say, "Hey, learn," like your parents would say, "Learn from my mistakes." And
yeah,
we're like, "Yeah, whatever," and you just kind of do your own thing. Really learn from other people's mistakes, because you don't have to go through what they went through. Just learn from them. Be humble and just if somebody made a mistake and going to tell you, just learn from it. But not necessarily it's all a mistake, because what I've learned is if you want to be successful, obviously it's going to take a lot of hard work, right?
mhm,
And when I talk to a lot of people, everybody's goal is to actually like don't want to work, like retire early, they got enough money. But I'm like, regardless of, if you look at Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs, when he had cancer. I mean, everybody from Elon, they all worked their
still
asses
work. Yep.
off, and they didn't have to. These guys had billions of dollars.
Hmm.
Especially Steve Jobs. I mean, he worked through his cancer and then
Yeah.
died. It wasn't like, where do you go? And 3 years later, oh, he died. He just died after he finished working and handed the reins over. So
Yeah. That's like a refreshing look because like everyone that I talk to, have everyone on the channel here, a lot of people are investing in other things to hopefully get outside of nursing. But obviously you're the anti-hero
opposite.
to that. Yeah, you're like, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with working. Are you still working like those 80-hour weeks?
No, no. Like I worked a lot, right? Um, if it's there, I will. I even tried one of the biggest things, like I tried to make a video was working the strike. Made a lot of
Hmm.
money during the strike. Obviously, a lot of people don't like you when you work the
No, of
strike,
course, yeah.
but somebody's gonna do it, right? And I just wanted to see what it was like. And I'm gonna tell you, if you're not part of the team that comes in to work the strike, then it's pretty hard, because they have a team that comes in, and basically what they do is they work and then they leave, right? So, but if you're like the staff person that works, because I was per diem, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to utilize this time to make double time. And I mean, these like management was going to let me work like 18 hours,
Yeah.
20 hours, you know, just to
Whatever you
cover
wanted.
charge. Yeah. Just until the strike was done. So I was able to make a crap load of money. And basically, that's basically what I wanted to do. But the repercussions from coming back to that, I mean, they always say, hey, there's going to be, you know, no retaliation. And man, there's hella retaliation.
It was like a
So, and
parallel retaliation,
yeah,
like the other staff just didn't like you because they saw you coming in or something.
yeah, they knew that I worked. I wasn't, you know, trying to be silent about it, because it is what it is, right? I mean, they're going to find out later on. But it
Yeah.
wasn't like I'm per diem. So I didn't really benefit from all their stuff. I mean, I support them, like, you know, 100% supported what they do, but nonetheless, it's going to happen regardless if I was there or not, you
Yep.
know. And if somebody's going to make 50,000 for a pay period, then that's going to be me rather than somebody else, you know. So I took it, you know. So I'm going to tell people out there that, hey, if you're going to be a staff person, just be strong-minded and a strong nurse, because when I was working, you know, these people, they put me in an assignment. I had a lot of seniority, and then they just put me in an assignment, which is cool, but no resources at all. So you're going to have to, like, you know, I remember having like 2 ICU patients, and like a tele and like some other regular patient, but nobody would take my patients up. So nobody would do my EKGs, nobody would do anything. So basically, and rather than, once I saw that, since I was already in charge and management was cool with me, like the house soup and all that, and the admin, so I would just call them myself, get the bed, bring them upstairs, and then go back downstairs, grab my other ICU, you know,
Do the
call
same thing.
report, do the same thing, but get my own bed, you know.
Oh, dang.
If I had to wait for charge, then that was never going to happen,
Yeah.
you know, because they would just want me to keep. And it's not that, you know, and it sucks because that's just the way it is. They're not looking at it like, hey, you're delaying care for that patient more than making me suffer. Like I'm pretty efficient at what I do. And after a while, they stopped doing it. You know, like I went in the back. And they put me in another assignment and put me in the back because they didn't want to look at me. So they, so I in a 12-hour period, I think I saw and discharged 22 people.
And this is all from the ER.
Yeah, this is all in
That's
one day
insane.
in a
Oh,
12-hour shift.
dang.
So I was pushing patients, and then the average, you know, our ER is not that busy. So I think the average, you would have like 4 or 5 patients in an 8-hour, you know, shift. But I counted it all because I brought it to management, and management, you know, they would say, yeah, we'll take care of it, and nothing.
Dang.
So
are you still making like that $500,000-$600,000 a year as a nurse?
no. Basically, right now, because so this year I wanted to change things up. So I got let go of Tesla, and that's one of the big reasons why I had to like not be on social media all that much, because I'm gonna, you know, my attorney was like, all right, you know, these are the things that you have to do. And I was working at Sutter still, and then I got another job at another ER. So I was still working two jobs and still making the same. But after what, 10 years, I decided it was no longer like beneficial for me to work at that spot. It's just because, you know, the pay, when you work at a spot for so long, you get tunnel vision. So, you know, like we just got our contract. I was making decent money, you know, like as per diem, 130 an hour. And that's not even, we still had like 2 more years on our contract. So basically another what, $10, $12. So I'd be like at 145, you know, for the hour. But the thing is like I can offer you $500 an hour, right? But if I only have you work 2 hours a month, I mean, what good is
Yeah,
it?
what good is that? Yeah.
You know, so you kind of have to find that. and I probably could start working, but it was just like because of the whole retaliation, people still didn't like me. It all depend on like who the charge was, whether I was going to get hours or not. And you know, and you see a lot of people. So I started seeing people that were 15 years, 22 years, you know, 30 years leaving the ER where I worked. And there's got to be a reason why. So for me, I had to, at 5-year mark, I kind of look back and see where I've gone, you know. And if it's the only thing that went up was the pay, then I got to go somewhere else, right? And I took a chance and worked another 5, which was at 10. And I kind of looked at myself again, where I was at 5, where I was at now at 10, and it was the same spot. It was just my pay went up, you know, and I went from staff to per diem. And I think that was the only 2 things. Pay went up and my rec changed. So, but I was still being able to, you know, pull in shifts. It was the easiest ER you can work at. So that's why a lot of people stay. It's not that hard. I think they're code 3s that came in. So they used to be a normal ER, but their code 3s that come in are all on like CPAP from the medics. And that's basically it. We didn't get anybody like CPR in progress.
Oh, dang.
You know, we got somebody that was altered. Nobody was intubated out in the field. I mean, it's like the easiest. I think the most problematic patient would be a septic patient, you know.
Just drug him with antibiotics.
Yeah, that was get your antibiotics within the hour and fluids and stuff, and make sure you get your lactate and stuff. But I mean, that was it. I mean, you know, if you want an easy ER, that's the one to work at. So after a while, you know, you want to be able to go back and say, hey, this is what I've learned. You know, this is what I'm going to take with me. And if you're not learning anything, unless you're winding down your career, then cool. But, you know, there's a lot of opportunities out there. So when I applied for another job, so I currently work as a clinical nurse coordinator in the ER, pays a lot better, you know, and I try to tell a lot of people, hey, you know, do this, you know, go over here, they're hiring, you'll get paid more. But people don't want to, it's no longer about how much you get paid. It's about whether they have to start from zero again, you know, learn the new system, get to know people and whatnot. And I try to tell them, like, your work is work. You know, there's not one time in the interview that they say, hey, you know what, are you good at making friends? Because, you know, that's what one of the important things here is making friends. You know, it's basically how good are your skills in taking care of patients and getting
how efficient you could be.
Yeah. Getting that throughput. So, but that's what stops a lot of people, you know, and what people don't understand is we make decent money, right? For us, like, even what people on the East Coast or whatnot don't understand is that there are a lot of people, and it sucks because you get a lot of people, like a lot of new grads that are posting what they get paid. You know, like, hey, I'm making 150,000, you know, and there are a lot of people out there like, yeah, I've been a nurse for 10 years and I'm like not even at 100, you know, and then they're always like, oh, this is all cap and whatnot. But I tell them, I even just try to say, hey, you know, you need to go to where they are at. And they got no reason to lie. Yeah, I mean, they got new grads. I think new grads in the Bay some of them are anywhere in this, you know, high 70s to, you know, low 80s.
Dang.
You know, and that's, you can obviously make a quick 100 even, you know.
Yeah.
And you're talking about 200,000 with overtime. New grads, you know. And there's so many people out there that are, you know, like, no, that's impossible. And I'm just,
or they don't want to make the move to the higher paying areas.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people. So I'm in SoCal. So when I tell people, hey, just go up to the Bay Area and work, you know, they're all like, no, that's too much work. And I'm all like, dude, it's not that bad. You know, you just take a flight and you're making almost double. Because I tried to get you know, when I was trying to make a move, I was like, maybe I'll get a a lead position down in San Diego, and so I went on Indeed, and then they had a lead position in the ER, and they said the pay was going to be from like 65 to 107 an hour, right? So I was like,
Dang.
hey, if I'm in the 90s, that'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I took the interview from the recruiter, and the recruiter was like, well, how much? Let's talk about compensation. And I said, all right, well, how much are you going to offer me? And then they said about 60. And I said, 60? Oh, that's not, I don't
That
think I
ain't
could
it.
take that. Yeah. And then she was like, oh, they just tell me, maybe we can work it out. And I was like, all right, well, like right now I make 130. And then she's like, oh man, yeah, just nothing we can do with that. She goes, well, maybe the most I can do is like 69. And she was telling me, she was like,
What?
71 is the top, you know? And I was like, oh, on your thing, it said 107. And she was like, no, I think that's a misprint. And I said, well, that's the only way I can, you know, I can't go to work knowing that I can make, over 100
Yeah.
somewhere else doing the exact same job, you know?
Yeah.
But there are people out there, obviously they don't see it
They
fit.
don't see it like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But there are like people from New York, from Florida, from Georgia that come just to fly down and make this money and then fly back, So it can be done if you want it. And if you don't, then don't hate on people that are
Yeah.
making, the money, especially the new grads, man. I feel bad because, they're like happy that they're getting paid a lot. And then,
Yeah. I'm seeing like a lot of Instagram posts where like, oh, some new grads in somewhere in the Midwest or even like Florida, they're like, oh yeah, we get like paid 32 an hour. I'm like, damn, that's trash.
oh, I know. And
Like
I'm all like, God, just do something else.
just do something else. Move
Yeah.
somewhere, do something. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Go ahead.
how much are you getting how much are you getting now that you don't work like the 3 jobs?
Well,
Like
right now it's like probably about 400.
oh,
So
shit.
it's not it's not the same.
It's not the same, but it's still
It's not
more
the
than
same
everyone
as
else.
600. The thing is so I kind of utilize my investments a lot more than anything else, right?
Mhm,
So you work a lot, you invest, and then you pull from your investments.
mhm.
Uh, so like, and a lot of things I want to do this year is try other things in nursing just so I can talk about it, like home health. One of my buddies, he did home health, and he was like, cool, it's a good job, whatnot. So I just want to be able to do that, or try per diem and like pack you or something like that, just
Just try
not
other things out.
necessarily, yeah, just so I can say, hey, yeah, this was cool or not. Where I'm not like locked down on the income because I've worked so much that like I do pretty well, and that's the whole thing, I drive a like almost $500,000 car, live in $1 million house, and it's all not double income. It's just me doing my
Just
thing.
you doing
So
your thing. And that's like the thing.
yeah,
So like you're obviously your video ended up getting on like Graham Stephan's channel, right?
yeah.
Where it got like a ton of views, and then like you read through the comments like, oh, why doesn't this guy just invest and ride into the sunset? But here you are, you're working and you have investments, still killing it both ways now.
Yeah, it's just because I mean you have to look at it like everybody on social media is like odd, right? I mean, you look at everybody there and everybody's a millionaire. Like
Oh yeah.
everybody's killing it, right? And everybody's trying to leave what they were doing, why even do this? But you have to start somewhere. And they're
Hmm.
saying, man, there's a reason why all our like aunties
Yeah.
are nurses, right? Like they killed it. They worked like I had two aunties in LA that, bought a whole bunch of like skilled nursing facilities,
Oh dang.
millionaires, right? They didn't just buy one, they bought like several. And but it all started off with what? Like working hours in the hospital,
Hmm.
right? And they were able to buy one, they get another one, they found their niche, right? And then they just stuck with it. The sad thing was is all my cousins when we were kids, uh, we all got along. And then when my aunt died of breast cancer and left it to my other aunt, and then my other aunt died and left the businesses to like my aunts and my cousins, it all fell through. Like
Oh
they all
dang.
sued each other for millions of dollars. They're not talking to each other. because they don't know the importance of how hard my aunts worked to get
Worked
there.
to get there. Yep.
Yeah, like they just picked it up, and they got gifted this. So a lot of people, they have to understand, man, to be a billionaire is a lot of hard work, and let me tell you something. One of the biggest things I was able to do while working in the ER, in the several ERs that I've worked at, was run into a billionaire. Because I've done stuff, like I did a UC Berkeley coding boot camp, so I know how to code. So nursing isn't like my only, like, oh shit, if I can't nurse, I'm kind of screwed, but I'm gonna tell you that talking to a billionaire, it's crazy, just their mindset. And it was funny, the ER that I was working at, nobody gave a crap that he was a billionaire and wanted to talk to him. I was like,
Yeah.
how many times are you going to run into a billionaire that doesn't have like security guards, or that's just doing something? So I got a chance to talk to this guy one-on-one, and it was crazy because I got a perspective that I never really thought I would hear from somebody that had a lot of money. And he told me, like, all the money he had was made him depressed. It's
Oh shoot.
because we're the opposite, right? We make some money, we save up for like a car, a watch, or some materialistic thing, or vacation that you want to go on, but we save up for it, right? And when we get enough, we're like happy because we saved up so much, and then we're able to spend our money and be happy. This guy, he told me his investments turn like 80 to 100 mil a year, and there's no way he would ever like have to save for anything ever again. So, and he was like, the first, obviously years of becoming rich was cool. But after a while, if you're not from that, like generation wealth where you were born into it, he really didn't know how to, handle himself. So he went into depression, he didn't know what to do, how to act. He had family. He's a programmer, so obviously he was introverted. He's not like this outgoing guy. And, it's just the fact of never saving up for something. Like, he can buy anything. He said,
You can buy
hey, if a
anything he
banana
wants.
costs like $100 right now, who cares?
Yeah.
Because he can't even spend enough money to waste the money. So, and he wasn't one to like just frivolously just give money away or whatnot. But it just shows that regardless if you have money or you don't have money, there's always some type of mental like challenge that you have to go through. And a lot of people, it's funny that a lot of people with no money, or they have this like kind of like vision of what it would be like to have money, and then they go out and tell people, hey, this is what you need to get done. And it's unrealistic. I don't know, I listen to so many people that want to retire when they're like 30 or 40, and that's cool. But the thing is, what people understand, like, if you really talk to your patients, you'll know that you're taking care of somebody that's 80 years old, that's a teacher, a lawyer, that had money, and the problem is they did everything right, the right way, but sometimes society, the economy takes a turn. Life throws them a curveball where their wife, had a stroke and is bedridden, and the amount of money they save for retirement isn't enough. It's all gone, so these people just don't seem to understand that you have to be like really, really, really wealthy to be able to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to retire early. And nowadays, you retire, it's not like everybody's healthy. How many people are dying when they're 50s and 60s, and if they're making, the only people I've seen that, are in their 90s are, old Asian women. And it sucks, like, because I tell them, like, I took care of a lady that had a ground level fall, and she was Japanese, right? She was like 98 years old. And I asked her, I said, well, I always talk to them. I said, well, tell me about, being 98. And she goes, well, it sucks. And I was like, oh, I said, why? She goes, she outlived her kids. She outlived her husband.
Oh,
She
dang.
outlived all her friends. And it's just her, and
Mm.
she's 98. And she's like, well, where am I going to, yeah, if I go to old person home, a lot of people aren't all there, whatnot. So, and it sucked because she was just like, well, I hope I die soon, and I was like, oh, you don't want to say that. At least you can, you know,
Yeah,
I don't
it's
want to get you on a hold or anything, so,
yeah, exactly.
so, I mean, but that's just how it is, right? And when you start to realize if you're the nurse that just goes in, gives meds in and out, you're kind of missing the opportunity to educate yourself on what your future is looking like. Because when you
Wow.
start talking to a lot of older people and what they did, not everybody, like all old people aren't always broke. They did the right things, and then basically life hit them with a curveball. And you get people that are divorced at 70 years old, or they lose their loved one, they get into depression and they can't get
Mhm.
out of it. And no matter how much money they have, doesn't matter. That doesn't affect what they're going to do. It's not like, hey, my wife died, I'm going to go on vacation. I mean, some people are like that, because they're like,
Because they like
they're,
that. They'll just say they like that. That's why.
but but not everybody. Not everybody's going, to Asia and picking up a new, you know, 20-year-old wife when you're 70. So yeah.
So,
So
so
I
that's
mean,
like your outlook on money. It just like as long as you have it, you're investing it, do what you want with it because you can't take it
I
anywhere.
mean, exactly. Like, so a lot of it had to deal with my accident, right? Before my accident, I was like, all right, I had this make a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
And I think in anything you do right now, a lot of people get burnt out because they don't have a goal. So if you set your sights on a
Mm.
goal, like if you ask, like I'll ask you, like when you retire, how much money do you want to have?
Me, at least like 5 million.
Yeah, at least though, but there's not a number that you need to
Oh
get,
yeah.
right? You need to have that number. Like I'm gonna hit 5 million. And the reason why I'm gonna hit 5 million because I'd be able to spend 20,000 per month for the next, 20 years and be
Oh
okay.
yeah. Do the whole calculations. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but you got to have it down to the numbers, because if you don't, then you just say, well, I just want to make maybe 5 million. But are you going to stop at 5 million, or are you going to just have an open number, right? Because
Mm.
when you have an open number, your mental state is like, God dang, when is this going to end? Am I stopping at 5, or am I going to keep going?
Ah.
And people don't understand that. So when you look at people, like if I told you you're only going to do this for 3 more hours, that's a lot better than, when are you going to do it? I don't know.
I don't know when it's
I
over.
mean,
Yeah.
I don't know when it's over. You're gonna be, and you might give up. And the sad thing is, you might have given up before opportunity to make you, financially successful. You stopped before you got there.
Like right before you got there.
Yeah, right before you finish that, the finish line. So that's why I tell people, hey, always have a finish line. At least if you finish it, you got it, and then you can continue on with
Yeah. Then
something
you can make it
else.
like another goal or push further.
Exactly. So that's how I look at it. So when you ask me like, hey, how do you know, what's your outlook on money now? When I didn't have it, I wanted to make a lot of it. So I
Mm.
made as much as I could, right? About 600. And then I thought to myself, so one day I asked my girlfriend at the time, I told her, I said, God dang, it's lonely up here, and I'm only making 600,000, and then she was like, she didn't get it. And I was like, well, and a lot of people don't understand it. To make 600,000, you're probably in maybe single digit percentage of people
Hmm.
that are out there, right? So just say I'm 1%. So if I'm 1% of the people out there that will make 600 plus, then you're looking at, if I walk into a room with 100 people, I'm that person.
You're that
For
guy.
me to get, yeah, for somebody to get along with me, and I can share and bounce ideas off, there is nobody
There's
there.
nobody there for you.
And yeah, and if they say there's 20 people, I know 19 are lying, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way it is. So, and it sucks because that's just the percentage game. If it would, you know what people understand, hey, if you're making 7 figures, you walk in there, you're less than 1% of the people. So if you're the 100 people, you know, less than you will be making $1 million. You might be
True.
lying to yourself, you know, and there's nobody in there that's making $1 million. So it's people have to really look at, hey, you know, or there's like 50 millionaires here out of 100 people. That's impossible.
Yeah, the math
You know
doesn't
what I'm
math.
saying? Exactly. So there's a lot of people lying, and figure it out, you know, but take their advice. Not everybody, if it was easy to, you know, do drop shipping or do Amazon or, you know, quit bedside nursing, everybody would do it.
Everyone did it
Like,
already.
I mean, why not? Right? Shoot, if you can guarantee me making, you know, generation wealth by leaving nursing, then what? I'm not stupid. You know, I'd go and do it. But
Yeah.
nursing is easy where, look, I don't have to, you know, like, here's one of the things I get. So a lot of people will say, well, I want to do nursing so I can, you know, get my own business and, you know, get better
Mhm.
tax write-offs. Cool. I get that. But you have to understand that, you know, nursing, you're already making, if you do it right up in the Bay Area, you're making 300 easy, right? Minimal overtime, making 300K. And then when you get your own business, you're not going to make
No, you're
300K.
not. No.
You know, you're going to,
At least
your
not for a while.
business. Exactly. But then you gotta, you know, you get your write-offs. I mean, you know, to get credit's a lot harder because now you're self-employed. They're gonna want more of the books. Like when I buy this car, you know, I don't have to come out with paychecks. I just come out with my tax
W-2.
returns.
Yep.
No, my
Not even that?
tax returns. No, I just give them my tax returns. Ask my accountant, and I say, hey, you know, email, you know, the bank my tax returns, and then in 2 minutes just get, you know, this is
Approved.
what you're gonna get. Yeah.
Because they see
You
the
know, and
numbers.
that's for when you're buying, you know, $500,000 plus car, you know, financing, unless you're paying
Mhm.
cash, you know. But that's how, for me, it works. It does. You're no longer, you know, you know, you got your 3 paycheck stubs that you're gonna give or whatnot. It's hey, we just give us your last 2 years of tax returns so we can see what you got going on, and then they give it to you, you know. But that's how it is, financing cars or financing some stuff, you know,
Mhm.
if you're going to go that route. But I think a lot of people just have to be more realistic on the financial goals. And, you know, for me, it's not stressful. I wish like there would be more nurses telling how easy it is to do nursing
Mhm.
than how hard it is to do nursing, you know,
No,
because I
that's
watch
true.
so many people. There's so many people out there. I'm all like, I look at my coworkers, not everybody looks like shit every fucking time they come to work, you know? Like they actually have a good time, you know, we have potlucks, you know, it's not everybody's, you know, having a bad time. But there's nobody out there making videos like, hey, and if you do make a video that nursing is easy, then you get all these like comments like, oh, you know, you must not be doing your job or you're lying or blah blah blah, whatever, you
So
know.
I made like a video like that, be like, I actually like my job and I get paid pretty well for New York. And then people are like, nah, you're lying. You're not probably even taking care of anyone the right way. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm just good at what I do. I'm efficient. And
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like if you're good at what you do, then you don't really have any problems. Like I know a lot, and I believe I tell people, hey, you know, if you work in the ER or you know, kind of anything that you're doing, but when it starts in the ER, if you can't line and lab somebody, then that kind of puts you in behind
oh yeah.
because if you know you're trying to rule out stroke, you can't get a line. If the guy you know is a STEMI patient, can't get a line, can't get any labs, you're falling behind. And if you get another person in your rooms that has the
Mhm.
same thing and you still can't get a line,
Yeah.
I can see where it gets stressful. And then
Yeah.
you try to ask 3 or 4 people
But
and
they're
they can't
busy.
get a line. Yeah, they can't do it. The doctor sucks at doing it because last time they started something, you know, blood's all over the place. Yeah, I can see where it gets stressful. So do something about it. You know, learn how to get good access. Learn ultrasound IVs or something,
Yeah. Get the
you know, because
skills to
that's
make
what's
the
up.
work easy.
Exactly. And keep learning. A lot of people stop learning. So that's why they have ER journals. Read them, talk to doctors, and keep up to date with things. That way you're not falling behind on your patient care, you know?
Sure.
So,
Let me ask you something about your coworkers. They
yeah,
probably know about the Lambo and potentially how much you make, right? Do they
yeah.
hate on? Do some of them hate on you for
Oh, yeah.
what you have? Like
Yeah.
other than the place you already left?
Oh, yeah. Most of like the place that I work now, like I've only been there for what, like a month and a half, 2 months. So they really don't know me. And you know what? I don't think they really care.
Do
Like,
you drive your Lambo to work?
no, my Lambo, because it's down in San Diego. So
Okay.
I drive a Tesla. So if they ask me
Okay.
like what I do, I drive a Tesla. And I tell them straight up, if I'm working if I'm working back to back, I don't even get a hotel room. I just like go to the gym, take a shower, sleep in my car, and then wake up and go to the other spot, because to me, like, traveling and whatnot, that's like stressful, right? So basically, I'll leave way early so I don't have to pay any toll for the toll, like our express lanes, and
Uh-huh.
then get to work early. And then the Teslas, I don't know if everybody hates Tesla, but even though I used to work for them, they let me go. I still love their product. But they have
Uh-huh.
this thing called camp mode, and it gets you in the perfect temperature, regardless if it's like 110 outside, keeps your car into what you want, like 64 degrees or whatnot. You can
Oh, what?
take a quick nap. So I nap it, and then until I get into work, I feel refreshed, get out of the car and just walk in, grab some coffee that they got going on there that they give away, and just start my day, you
Damn, so
know?
you're not just efficient at work, you're not just efficient with your money, you're efficient with your time as well.
Yeah, I mean, because you have to look at like how so I I had like a Z06, right? And
Uh-huh.
Z06, I had like my BMW, I had a Porsche at the time, and they were in the Bay Area. I would drive to work. Obviously you're putting, like the best gas you got. I don't know, that
Yeah,
time it
like
was anywhere
premiums
from
or whatever.
$5 to $6, sometimes $7 a gallon, right? You spend over $100, and if you're commuting like back and forth like 30 to 40 miles at a time, on a daily, you're you're spending a lot. So I think I was spending like anywhere 1,000 plus on gas, right? And I thought to myself, man, it's a waste, because at 1,000 plus on gas, I got nothing to show for other than where I got to in my work, and then I still have to, fix my car or whatnot, right? Because I got to
Mhm.
tune it up, change the
Yeah.
oil, whatnot. So I thought to myself, my cousin was always in the Tesla. Hey, go grab a Tesla. I was like, they're kind of ugly, and so I bought a used one. I bought a used
Uh-huh.
one for like 30,000. It was the cheapest one I could find at the time. So I bought it
Mhm.
for 30, drove it a year, and I loved the car. Not going to the gas station. And at the time, I was able to sell it for 39. So I bought it for 30. I sold it for 39, and then I bought my Model X Plaid.
Mhm.
And then I found out how fast it was. It was faster than like majority of the freaking, sports cars out
Sports cars,
there.
yep.
Yeah, so I mean, it's faster than my Lamborghini. So um, that's why I started looking at cars different. Now I buy cars that look cool, might hold the value a lot longer than rather than how fast it goes.
Mhm.
Uh, but as far as the Tesla, man, you don't have to change your brake. I've had the car for 2.5 years. I haven't changed the brakes at all because it has that
That regenerative
regenerative
braking
braking.
thing?
Braking. Yeah. Tires, I belong to a Tesla club, so rather than spending like $300 on tires, I only spend I think it was $50 or something like that,
Oh,
50 60
dang.
dollars on tires. uh I don't have to, there's no like service maintenance, after 30,000 miles or 5,000 you got to do this. You just drive it. When I drive up and down to SoCal to um Northern California, like I don't mind driving and it taking me, anywhere from 8 to 10 hours, because like it drives itself. I watch movies while I'm driving, and then and it's like I'm the passenger and it's just driving itself. So I mean, it's a lot more relaxing. You know, I don't get stuck in traffic.
And like
My
hate
gas
it.
money,
Yeah.
yeah, my gas money that I would have spent on gas pays for the car, and I do that for home. I have like 40 solar panels. I have 4 Tesla batteries, so I don't pay for electricity when I go and charge my car. It's free. Up in the Bay Area, some of the hospitals, like at Sutter, charging was free, so I never paid for
Dang.
charging my car. You know, so everything, I try to be efficient. I only stay at a hotel if I need to, because you know, $100 for a hotel isn't that bad. But I can't see myself right now, going out and spending
Uh,
$3,000, $4,000 on renting a place. I'd rather put that into something else, like investing into something. So that's kind of my whole mindset on saving money, spending money. And I say spend what you earn and save, a bit, right?
mhm.
But enjoy your money, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, and you might not be able to enjoy it.
Dang.
you know
That's really good, man. And, like, we're going close to an hour, and I know you gotta
oh
get to a breakfast.
yeah.
So if you already just gave all the advice, I was going to ask, like, what advice would you give to someone like starting out to get where you're at? You pretty much like said it, but
I just basically, have goals. Just have goals. It's going to be hard, and, work hard at what you do, and eventually you're going to get good at what you do. It's going to be easy. It's going to be, just don't get into a routine. So one of the things that I found myself, when you work at a job for a long period of time, you find yourself getting into routines. When you get into a routine, you stop learning, you stop
mhm,
growing, you stop going forward, and you get stuck and you get complacent. When you find yourself there, you're gonna have to kind of like reevaluate where you're at and just say to yourself, do I want to continue to grow, or am I kind of like done growing? And if
uh-huh.
you're not done growing, quit and do something else. Not as far as nursing, but go to another job. Because a lot of people, like I tell people, hey, you can get paid $10 more. Just quit where you're at now and go somewhere else. People don't want to do it to get
Mhm.
paid $10 more. I'm all like, if you're
Yeah,
gonna do overtime, that's a lot more in overtime than you would if you stayed where you're at.
that's
So
true.
look for opportunities, keep going forward. Don't let people discourage you. And it's crazy. I think people should more encourage than discourage. And we stopped doing that because a lot of people don't want to see success in others.
Yeah, that's a thing that sucks too. Like, you see it all the time, especially in our field, that, like you said, like, a lot of people just end up just discouraging you from everything, or telling you, "Oh, you probably shouldn't do that. Like, why buy a
Yeah.
Lamborghini when you could just get like a Honda?" Like, but no, that's what you
Yeah,
wanted to
exactly.
do.
Like I'm the opposite probably of what you actually interview people. People are probably out there, like, oh, I'm gonna buy a Honda, I'm gonna invest my stuff, I'm
Mhm.
gonna get out of nursing, I'm gonna do whatnot because it's so stressful, whatnot. No, I'll stay in nursing. I'll probably work until I'm 70, because it's not that hard, right? And then you, I'll continue, buy another Lamborghini, buy some stupid stuff, you know buy a Rolex or whatnot. But I still have money saved. When you make a lot of money, you're not spending your whole bank account, you know.
Mhm.
And one of the things, people ask, like, um, when I quit. So when I quit Sutter, basically, um, it it really, it's not like I had no money. If I quit, I automatically have like what, like a quarter of a mil, right?
Just sitting in the
Because,
bank account?
well, no, just from quitting there.
Oh.
Right? So basically, you have to look at, you have your pension, right? You have your pension that grew like over 100K, right? And
Mhm.
then I have my 403b that has over 100K, you know.
Mhm.
So combined to this, like quarter of a million.
Yeah.
If I ever need cash, I could pull that. Yeah, pay my 10%. But if you look at it, you pull that, you pay your 10%, right? Um, if you take like your pension out at one lump sum, you're gonna pay like what, 47%.
Mhm.
At a higher, if you have a
Higher.
million in your pension, you're gonna,
Yeah.
half of that will go. So just take it out and put it into something else. Invest it into the market that will make a better return. That you don't have to pay tax all at one time when you take it, because you could take out a loan and borrow off your
Borrow off of it, yep.
investment account. Yeah, and pay no taxes.
But
So
that's a lot of stuff that only higher end people know. They can do that. I
I mean,
try to
that's the
educate, but it goes over a
yeah.
lot of people's heads.
But I mean, that's the whole thing. Get to that point and start talking, and start. But it takes you, it takes me, it takes a lot of people to come up and start making that conversation. So
No, that's true. That's like
yeah,
the whole point of this channel. Like I see like Jason doing this thing, getting people to California with showing the pay could be higher. There's a lot of other podcasts where like it's real estate investing. Mine, I just try to show as many options as possible for nurses because there's no reason why we should be living paycheck to paycheck with the
yeah,
incomes that we have. There's a lot of different ways to figure everything out.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jason was supposed to go back to New York. So I don't
Yeah,
know, I think he said like in the next few years or something like that.
yeah,
So I think when you make enough money, you can start making different decisions on what you're going to do and make different opportunities. Making money here is not going anywhere. I don't think it's going to go down. So if you ever need money, you just go to the Bay Area,
yeah.
How much are you guys making over in New York?
So I get paid 78 an hour, but that's because I
That's
have
not
like
bad.
10 years, I have like 12 years experience, so like it tax on. So, but it's
Oh,
not
okay. And then
like new grads are like
you,
at 58 or something.
oh wow.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, new grads, they can hit up like, I think at 80 over
I'm
here.
getting like
And then you guys don't have ratios, right? Or you guys have?
we do because of the new contract, but it's not the most enforced yet. So it's like we're trying to get to like California where we have like super enforced ratios and better like labor laws, I believe.
How come you don't make it down over here and work over here?
To be honest, it's a conversation. It's just because we have kids. That's the only thing. But it's a thought for sure.
I mean,
Because
you
we have
would
friends
kill
out
it
there.
over here.
Yeah, I know.
All you have to do is just, where do you work in the ER or where do you work?
I work in like a cath EP lab.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Yeah, you would kill it over here.
yeah. I know. It's always in my mind.
One of my there's a guy that I worked with in Sutter. He actually lived in New York with his wife, right? And he took a job. So he followed me on my channel. Took a job to where I was at in the ER,
Mm-hmm.
and he's working there, doing the job, working in the ER, and he's also doing home health. And he likes it. So he's actually, he tested it out. He'd rent in an apartment, see how it was, and he's like moving his wife and I don't know if they have kids, but for sure his wife down here to start working. And she's not even a nurse. I don't know what she does.
Yeah, my
But,
wife's a nurse, so I know we both would kill it.
I know you guys are. It should be a no-brainer for you guys.
I know.
Where does she work? Does she work in
She works in oncology, so.
oncology? Oh man, she would kill it too.
Yeah, she would kill it. I know.
Yeah, you both would be killing it. Or you guys would probably be in the roles that are, no longer at, bedside or doing.
Oh yeah.
But it's always here. So if you ever want to make a lot of money, just come over here.
That's the plan, man. All right, Eric, I'm gonna let you get going because I know you got that breakfast. I appreciate this. Hopefully we can do this again.
Yes. Hit me up anytime. If you have any questions or whatnot, let me know.
Definitely. All right. Thanks for everything, Eric.
All right, brother.
All right. Bye.
See you.